Another reason why Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time, and yes, that means he's greater than LeBron James. This is actually not a basketball bit. This is not a basketball segment. Let me dive in here. One of the reasons that I think that Michael Jordan has universal love and respect is not just his ability to play the game, but it is that we look back to his story. And the moment that we begin to hear the narrative of Michael Jordan is in the fall of 1978. He is a sophomore basketball player and baseball player, but it is basketball season at Laney High School in Wilmington, North Carolina. And he tries out for the varsity team. And his coach, Clifton Pop Herring, had to make a tough decision between a 5'9" sophomore by the name of Michael Jordan or a 6'7" forward by the name of Leroy Smith. And when you dig into the stats here and the story, you realize that the popular narrative that Michael Jordan was cut, some people don't think that he was cut because essentially he didn't make the varsity team. He played on the JV team, which a lot of sophomores would. He never played up, though. He didn't play up with the varsity. His direct quote years later to ESPN was, "It was embarrassing not making that team. They posted the roster, and it was there for a long, long time without my name on it. I remember being really mad, too, because there was a guy who made it that really wasn't as good as me." So the bottom line is, he was cut from the varsity. He was on the JV team. He didn't make the varsity. I don't care what the narrative is. There's all kinds of stuff on the internet about this. But this is the lesson. Jordan got mad, and sometimes we think that anger and getting mad is unhealthy. I totally reject that. How we deal with being mad, how we deal with the anger is the issue. But anger can be beautiful. What a wonderful fire anger can be. That's how you manifest it, how you react to it. And young Michael Jordan turned it into a raging furnace of drive. And we all know the story. He then grows, basically to be 6'5", 6'6", and goes on to be a star at the University of North Carolina, and then the greatest basketball player of all time. Sorry, LeBron lovers. But the reason that I think that Michael Jordan is greater than LeBron, because LeBron, at no fault of his own, was a physical specimen and was manhandling, literally, other high school players. It's not his fault. He was bigger, more athletic. He's a phenomenal athlete, great basketball player. Nothing against LeBron James. I'm having a little fun with this because Michael Jordan had to deal with a very painful rejection at one of the most formative times of his life. Folks, when you think back to being a sophomore, or parents, these kids, these teenage years are unbelievably formative, and a rejection, because that's what that was. So the theme here we're focusing on is Michael Jordan faced a devastating rejection. It is well documented, and it came up in the ESPN series. If you want to watch an unbelievable documentary, whether you're a basketball fan or not, he went home and cried to his mother. He wept in the arms of his mother after being told, "You're not going to make the team." That's rejection. And I have said many times on this show, I'll remind you again, that one of the greatest fears that we as human beings have is rejection. When we've experienced it, and we all do at some point, it's a sting, and it's a reminder that, I don't even want to take the chance of being rejected. So what do? We don't put ourselves out there. We don't pursue the dream. We don't try out for the team because we don't want to be told no, because we're afraid of hearing the words no and then feeling like I'm not good enough. And that is a feeling that rocks all of us to our core. Michael Jordan dealt with a very painful rejection at a very formative time of his life. But the difference between Michael Jordan and other wonderful athletes or other great business people or other great music artists or whoever who never actually met their full potential is that he took that rejection and he redirected it into a fuel, a raging inferno, a furnace inside of him to get better. And he put a big giant chip on his shoulder. Rejection is going to come to you if it hasn't already. Some of you have been sidelined for a while because of a recent rejection. Michael Jordan is one of the greatest of all time, not because of his athletic ability only, but because of how he handled rejection. And if you learn from him, you can win big in your life. Michael Jordan once said, "Never say never because of limits like fears. They are often just an illusion." The fear of being rejected, he turned that into an illusion. He had experienced it. He said, it's not going to happen. He also talks about failure. I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I was trusted to take the game-winning shot, and I missed it. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. That is why people become great. That kind of outlook, that kind of attitude, that kind of action. That's why Michael Jordan is one of the greatest. There's many that had similar skill. Few had the drive, the willingness to fail, but fail forward.